Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to turn the spotlight on why you and explore a personality type that might just feel like coming home.
hmm
The ISFP, or the adventurer.
No, I'm always excited to dive into these personality types.
Yeah.
And the ISFP with their unique blend of creativity and compassion is particularly fascinating.
Right. But before we get too far, let's just decode that acronym. ISFP stands for introverted, sensing, feeling, and perceiving. Now, this isn't about slapping a label on you. Instead, think of it as a way to understand how you naturally interact with the world, how you process information, and where you find your energy.
Exactly. It's a framework for self-discovery, not a box to confine you.
Yeah.
And as we go deeper, we'll even talk about the two subtypes, ISFPA, the assertive adventurer, and ISFPT, the turbulent adventurer. We'll explore those nuances and see which one might resonate more with you.
Love it. We're drawing from some insightful articles by Personality NFT for this deep dive. So let's get started. To give you some context, let's connect the ISFP type to the Big Five personality framework. Think of the Big Five as a wide-angle lens, and the ISFP type as a zoom-in on a specific area within that broader picture.
Great analogy. For those unfamiliar, the Big Five looks at 5 key dimensions of personality: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Studies suggest ISFPs typically score lower in openness, conscientiousness, and extroversion, while scoring higher in agreeableness. Neuroticism can vary depending on whether you lean towards the assertive or turbulent subtype.
So even within the ISFP type, there's a lot of room for individual variation, which is why self-reflection is so important as we go through this. But to get us started, let's talk about a core value that really defines the ISFP authenticity. They prioritize staying true to themselves above external rewards like money or fame.
Absolutely. It's almost like their internal compass is set to genuine self-expression. External validation is less important to them than aligning their actions with their deeply held values. This makes them naturally drawn to personal growth, experiences that resonate with their senses, and a desire to make each moment count.
I love that making each moment count. It makes me think of them being present and engaged in whatever they're doing. So while we're talking about how ISFPs move through the world, let's explore some of their key characteristics. And instead of just listing traits, I'm going to frame these as questions for you to reflect on.
That's a great way to encourage the listener to actively participate in this self-discovery process.
Exactly. So first question, do you find yourself drawn to exploring new things, but in your own way, at your own pace? ISFPs are definitely adventurous, but they're also introverts. They need that space to process things internally and connect with their feelings before jumping into action.
That introversion is a key piece of the puzzle. They might love trying new things, but they're not necessarily the ones leading the charge or seeking the spotlight. They're often content to explore in their own way, off the beaten path.
Next question. Do you find yourself easily absorbed in the present moment, noticing subtle details that others might miss? Think about how you experience your surroundings. Do the colors, textures, and sounds around you have a strong impact? ISFPs are incredibly present-focused and deeply in tune with the physical world.
Their senses are often heightened, making them particularly sensitive to aesthetic beauty in all its forms. Whether it's a stunning sunset, a piece of art that evokes emotion, or a perfectly crafted meal, ISFPs savor those sensory experiences.
Okay, last question for now. Do you have a strong need for personal freedom? Sometimes feeling restricted by things others might not even notice. ISFPs highly value autonomy. They don't like being boxed in by rules or expectations that don't align with their internal compass.
That need for autonomy can sometimes lead to friction, especially in environments that are very structured or rigid. They might chafe against rules they perceive as pointless or resist being put in a box.
So as you reflect on those questions, remember, it's not about checking boxes or trying to perfectly fit a mold. It's about observing yourself honestly and seeing if those tendencies resonate with your own experiences.
Self-awareness is the first step on any journey of personal growth, and understanding your personality type can be a powerful tool in that process.
Now, if this is all starting to click, buckle up, because we're about to go deeper into the cognitive functions, the why behind the what of the ISFP personality.
This is where we get to understand the underlying mental processes that shape how ISFPs perceive the world, make decisions, and interact with others.
And while it might sound a bit technical, we'll break it down in a way that makes sense using relatable examples.
We want to make sure you're not only learning about ISFPs, but also understanding how these concepts apply to your own unique experience.
Let's start with the ISFP's dominant cognitive function. Introverted feeling, or PHI for short. Think of Phi as that internal compass we mentioned earlier, the one that guides their choices based on their deeply personal values and feelings.
It's about having a strong inner sense of what feels right and true for them, regardless of external influences or social pressures. It's also what makes them so empathetic they can truly feel and understand the emotions of others.
So when an ISFP makes a decision, it's not about logic or what's popular, it's about aligning with that deep inner feeling of what's authentic.
Exactly. And while that might make them seem idealistic at times, it's also what makes them so genuine and inspiring to others.
Now let's talk about their auxiliary function.
Yeah.
Extroverted sensing, or say. This is what connects them to the physical world, making them so present-focused and attuned to their surroundings.
Remember how we talked about ISFPs being drawn to sensory experiences? That's say in action. They're often drawn to hands-on creative pursuits like painting, dancing, or cooking things that allow them to engage their senses and create something tangible.
It's like they're experiencing the world in high definition, noticing the subtle nuances of color, texture, sound, and taste that others might miss.
And that heightened awareness can make them incredibly observant, which can be a valuable asset in fields like design, photography, or even nature conservation.
Now, in addition to those two primary functions, we also have two supporting functions that play a role in the ISFP's personality: introverted intuition, ni, and extroverted thinking.
While not as prominent, these functions contribute to the ISFP's ability to see patterns and possibilities and apply logic and structure when needed.
So it's not that ISFPs lack logic or planning skills. It's just that those functions aren't their primary drivers. They're more likely to tap into those skills when they serve a purpose that aligns with their values or creative goals.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Phi is the captain steering the ship, Psi is the first mate navigating the waters, and Ni and Te are the crew members providing support along the way.
I love that analogy. It really captures the interplay of these cognitive functions and how they work together to shape the ISFP personality. And speaking of shaping personalities, let's shift gears and explore how these traits and functions develop over an ISFP's lifespan. It's like watching a flower bloom each stage, revealing new beauty and complexity.
It's fascinating to see how those early tendencies evolve and mature as ISFPs gain life experience and navigate the world. And understanding these developmental phases can offer valuable insights not only for ISFPs themselves, but also for anyone who has close relationships with them.
Absolutely. It's all about understanding the journey, right? So let's start at the beginning with childhood. What's an ISFP like in those early years?
Imagine a child brimming with curiosity, exploring the world through their senses. They're constantly touching, tasting, smelling, observing, absorbing everything around them like little sponges.
You can probably see that early love for beauty and aesthetics shining through. I bet they're drawn to bright colors, interesting textures, and anything that stimulates their senses.
Exactly. And they express themselves so naturally through play. You might see them building elaborate structures with blocks, drawing fantastical creatures, or putting on impromptu dance performances. They're incredibly expressive and unafraid to experiment.
It's like their creativity is flowing freely, unburdened by self-consciousness or the need for approval.
And even at this young age, their strong sense of personal values starts to emerge. They may not be able to articulate it yet, but they have a deep-seated sense of what feels right and wrong, what resonates with their core being.
That internal compass is already starting to guide their choices and shape their interactions with the world.
And as they move into adolescence and early adulthood, that compass becomes even more important. They're encountering more complex situations and challenges, and they're seeking experiences that align with their burgeoning sense of self.
It's like their adventurous spirit is in full bloom, urging them to explore new horizons and test their boundaries.
They might be traveling to new places, experimenting with different hobbies, or expressing themselves through fashion and personal style. They're pushing boundaries and figuring out what truly resonates with their soul.
It's a time of intense self-discovery, but it's not without its challenges. They might start to bump up against societal expectations that conflict with their values, leading to internal conflict and tension.
The pressure to conform can feel suffocating for an ISFP who values authenticity and individuality above all else. This is where that need for personal freedom can really come into play.
And it's fascinating that research has shown a correlation between this phase of life for ISFPs and an increased mention of heart disease in health data.
It's a curious finding, and while we can't draw a direct causal link, it does make you wonder if the stress of navigating those conflicting expectations of trying to stay true to themselves while also fitting into societal norms might manifest physically.
It really highlights the importance of self-care and stress management for ISFPs, particularly during this period of their lives.
Absolutely. Finding healthy outlets for their emotions and prioritizing activities that bring them joy and a sense of peace is crucial for their well-being.
And that brings us to the next phase of development, which typically kicks in around their 30s and 40s. What shifts are happening for ISFPs at this point in their lives?
By this stage, they've gathered a wealth of life experience. They've explored, they've experimented, they've tested their boundaries, and they've started to solidify their sense of self.
It's like they've finally found their footing,
Yeah.
both in terms of who they are and what they want out of life.
Exactly. And they're leaning into their dominant, introverted feeling more confidently than ever. Their decision-making becomes faster and more decisive because they're deeply connected to their values and less swayed by external influences.
Their internal compass is no longer wavering. It's pointing them towards a clear path that aligns with their authentic self.
And this newfound clarity often leads them to seek out roles and activities that allow them to make a tangible impact on the world. They're no longer content to simply exist. They want to make a difference.
It's like a switch flips, and they go from being explorers to being creators and contributors.
And they thrive in environments that recognize and value their unique contributions. This is a time when they might find themselves drawn to careers or projects that allow them to express their creativity, their compassion, and their desire to make a positive impact. It's almost like that inner fire they've always had finally finds a focus and a purpose.
That's a great way to put it. And it makes me think about how ISFPs show up in relationships, because that strong sense of self must influence how they connect with others.
Definitely. While ISFPs are known for being warm, caring individuals who value harmony, they also need their space. It's that delicate balance between connecting with others and honoring their need for solitude that makes their relationships so interesting.
So how are ISFPs typically perceived by others? What kind of first impression do they make?
People often describe ISFPs as humble, kind, and approachable. They have a quiet magnetism that draws people in, even if they're not the loudest voice in the room.
It's like they have a subtle presence that makes people feel comfortable and at ease.
Exactly. They radiate a sense of calm acceptance that makes others feel seen and valued. And because they're not ones to brag or seek attention, people might underestimate them at first.
It's that whole still waters run deep thing, right? You don't realize the depth of their talent, creativity, and compassion until you get to know them better.
Precisely. And those who take a time to truly connect with an ISFP are often rewarded with a deep and meaningful relationship.
So let's talk about those relationships, starting with friendships. What makes ISFPs such great friends to have?
ISFPs are the kind of friends who bring joy and spontaneity to the table. They're always up for an adventure, whether it's trying a new restaurant, exploring a hidden hiking trail, or just having a cozy movie night at home.
They're not afraid to be silly and have fun, but they're also incredibly loyal and supportive. They're the kind of friends who will show up for you when it matters most.
Absolutely. But they're also respectful of boundaries and understand the need for space. They're not the type to cling or demand constant attention. They're perfectly content to give their friends the freedom to be themselves and to recharge in their own way.
That mutual understanding and respect is what makes those friendships so strong and lasting.
It's a beautiful thing to witness. Now let's shift gears and talk about romantic relationships. What's it like to date an ISFP?
Get ready for a whirlwind of romance. ISFPs are incredibly romantic partners. They're all about grand gestures, thoughtful surprises, and expressing their love in creative ways. They might plan a weekend getaway to a secluded cabin in the woods, write you a heartfelt song, or create a piece of art that captures your essence.
They're definitely not afraid to wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they're incredibly attuned to their partner's needs and desires. They're always looking for ways to make their loved one feel special and appreciated.
But as we've discussed, ISFPs also need a partner who understands and respects their need for alone time. It's not that they don't want to be with their significant other, it's just that they need to recharge their batteries every now and then to be their best selves.
Communication is key in any relationship, but it's particularly important with an ISFP. While they might not always be the most verbal communicators, they're very expressive through their actions.
So pay attention to their gestures, their gifts, and their willingness to spend quality time with you. Those are all signs that they're deeply invested in the relationship.
And speaking of expressing love through actions, let's talk about ISFPs as parents. What kind of parenting style do they bring to the table?
I imagine it's a mix of playful spontaneity and gentle guidance. They're probably not the type to enforce rigid schedules or strict rules.
You're right on the mark. ISFPs tend to create a fun and flexible environment where their children feel free to explore their creativity and express themselves authentically. They're all about fostering their kids' individuality and encouraging their unique talents.
They sound like the cool parents, the ones who are up for anything, building forts in the living room, going on impromptu road trips, or just having a dance party in the kitchen.
They definitely make parenting look fun and effortless, but don't be fooled. They're putting a lot of thought and effort into creating a nurturing and supportive environment for their children.
They're deeply invested in helping their kids thrive, and they lead by example, showing their children the importance of following their passions and living authentically. But even with all that love and support, they still understand the importance of setting boundaries and teaching their kids about responsibility.
They want their children to grow into kind, compassionate, and independent individuals who are equipped to navigate the world with confidence and integrity.
Before we move on, I'm curious about one thing that stood out in the articles about ISFP relationships, the emphasis on shared values. It seems like having aligned beliefs and principles is crucial for ISFPs in any type of relationship.
That makes sense given their strong sense of authenticity. They're drawn to people who resonate with their worldview, who share their passions and their vision for the world.
It's like they need that sense of connection on a deeper level beyond just enjoying each other's company.
Exactly. Those shared values create a strong foundation for any type of relationship, whether it's friendship, romance, or family.
So if you're looking to connect with an ISFP on a deeper level, be sure to share your passions, your dreams, and your vision for the world. They'll appreciate your honesty and your willingness to be vulnerable.
Authenticity is key. Now let's shift gears and explore how ISFPs are represented in culture. It's fascinating to see how their unique traits and perspectives have influenced art, music, literature, and even social movements.
I'm ready to dive into that cultural landscape. What insights did the articles offer?
They highlighted the fact that ISFPs have always played a unique role in shaping society. Their artistic talents, their compassion, and their desire to make a difference have left an indelible mark on the world.
It's like they're the quiet revolutionaries, the ones who work behind the scenes to create beauty and inspire change.
Exactly. Think about the artists, musicians, writers, and activists who have enriched our lives with their creativity and their empathy. Many of them likely possessed ISFP traits. The articles even mention some famous figures who embody the ISFP spirit: Michael Jackson, Princess Diana, David Bowie, Marilyn Monroe, and Ryan Gosling, to name a few.
It's fascinating to see how these individuals from different backgrounds and different fields all share that core ISFP essence. They all had this unique ability to connect with people on an emotional level, whether through music, acting, or humanitarian work. They touched countless lives with their authenticity and their unwavering pursuit of their passions.
And they did it with a quiet grace and humility that's truly inspiring. It's a reminder that you don't need to be loud or attention-seeking to make a difference in the world. Sometimes the most powerful impact comes from those who work quietly and diligently behind the scenes, driven by their values and their desire to leave the world a little brighter than they found it.
It makes you wonder how many ISFPs are out there making a difference in their own unique ways. The articles mentioned that they make up about 9% of the population.
That means they're a minority group, but their impact is far greater than their numbers might suggest. Their unique perspective and their ability to connect with others on a deeper level make them valuable members of any community.
And their creativity and compassion can inspire us all to live more authentically and make a positive difference in the world, regardless of our personality type.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I wanted to share a few quotes from the articles that really capture the essence of the ISFP spirit.
I love a good quote. It's like a little window into the soul.
Here's one that resonated with me. Life is about finding our paths. Creating isn't just a matter of sitting down, it helps to know where you're going.
That speaks to the ISFP's journey of self-discovery. They're constantly exploring, experimenting, and trying to figure out what truly aligns with their soul's purpose. And once they find their path, they pursue it with unwavering determination.
Here's another one that captures their unique spirit. Never let anyone dull your sparkle. You were made to shine.
That's a beautiful reminder to embrace our individuality and let our light shine bright regardless of what others might think or say.
ISFPs are natural beacons of authenticity, and they inspire others to be themselves unapologetically. They remind us that it's okay to be different, that in fact it's our differences that make us special.
And finally, this quote really touched my heart. Kindness makes you the most beautiful person in the world, no matter what you look like.
That's a powerful message, and it's one that ISFPs embody in their everyday lives. They radiate kindness and compassion. They see the good in everyone, and they treat others with respect and understanding. And that inner beauty is what makes them so magnetic and alluring.
It's not about physical appearance. It's about the warmth and genuineness that they project into the world.
Exactly. So if you're lucky enough to have an ISFP in your life, cherish them. They're truly special souls. And if you're an ISFP yourself, never doubt your worth. The world needs the creativity, your compassion, and your unique perspective.
It's amazing how much depth there is to the ISFP personality. We've covered so much ground already, but there's always more to explore, right?
Absolutely. We've talked about their values, their cognitive functions, their relationships, and their impact on culture. But I think it's time to lighten things up a bit and uncover some fun facts about ISFPs.
Ooh, I'm all about those unexpected details that add even more color to a personality type. So hit me with some fun facts.
All right, here's one that might not surprise you. ISFPs are known for their incredible kindness and quiet generosity.
Makes perfect sense. They have such big hearts, always willing to lend a helping hand.
Exactly. But they don't do it for the recognition. They genuinely want to make a positive difference in the world, often working behind the scenes without seeking praise or attention.
They're the type to volunteer their time at an animal shelter or donate to their favorite charity without making a fuss about it. It's that genuine selflessness that's so admirable.
Okay, ready for another fun fact? ISFPs have a remarkable ability to observe their surroundings and appreciate beauty in all its forms.
That's their extroverted sensing shining through, right? Their ability to be present and soak in the details of the physical world.
Exactly. They might notice the way light filters through the leaves of a tree, or the intricate details in a piece of handcrafted jewelry that others might overlook. They find beauty in everyday moments that many of us take for granted.
And that deep appreciation for beauty often fuels their own creativity. It's like they're absorbing inspiration from the world around them and then channeling it into their own unique forms of expression.
Speaking of unique expression, here's another fun fact. ISFPs value individuality and embrace the uniqueness of others. They're not about fitting into a mold or conforming to societal expectations.
They're the champions of authenticity, both for themselves and for everyone around them.
Exactly. They're accepting and non-judgmental, which makes them incredible friends and partners. They create a safe space for others to be themselves without fear of criticism.
It's like they see the beauty in everyone's individual quirks and celebrate those differences instead of trying to smooth them out.
Okay, one more fun fact about ISFPs that really warms my heart. They are incredibly nurturing and caring individuals with a deep capacity for love and affection.
Oh, that's so sweet. I can totally see them being the best hug givers and the most attentive listeners.
Yeah.
They probably make you feel truly seen and heard.
You nailed it. They're always there to offer a shoulder to cry on or a word of encouragement. They truly cherish the people in their lives and go above and beyond to show their love and support.
That reminds me of something we touched on earlier, how ISFPs are drawn to careers and activities that allow them to express their creativity and make a tangible impact on the world.
It's like a driving force for them, this need to create something meaningful and to contribute to something bigger than themselves.
They're not motivated by money or status. They're driven by purpose and passion.
Exactly. They want their work to have meaning, whether it's through art, music, design, social work, or any other field that allows them to use their unique talents to make a difference.
It's inspiring to think about all the ways ISFPs are out there quietly making the world a more beautiful and compassionate place.
I completely agree. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the ISFP personality. We've explored their values, their cognitive functions, their relationships, their impact on culture, and even some fun facts that highlight their unique spirit.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I hope our listener feels like they've gained a deeper understanding of themselves or perhaps something special in their life.
Me too. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a final thought. We've spent this time exploring the intricacies of the ISFP personality, uncovering their strengths, their challenges, and the beautiful way they move through the world. But this is just the beginning of your own personal journey of self-discovery.
What a great point. Knowledge is powerful, but it's what we do with that knowledge that truly matters.
Exactly. So if you identify as an ISFP, use this information to embrace your strengths, work through your challenges, and pursue your passions with even more confidence. And if you're not an ISFP, but perhaps you have an ISFP in your life, use this knowledge to better understand and appreciate them. Recognize their unique gifts, respect their need for space, and celebrate their creativity and compassion.
Because the world is a richer, more vibrant place thanks to the presence of ISFPs. So let's all strive to learn from each other, to appreciate our differences, and to create a world where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our ISFP deep dive.
Thanks for joining us. To continue exploring your personality, you can head over to the Personality NFT and take the test. There you'll find a wealth of information and resources, including the articles we discussed today. You can even chat with AI agents to get personalized insights based on your unique personality profile. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep embracing your authentic self.
Until next time.